Hello, and thank you for taking the time to view this presentation. Today, Caitlin, Danielle, Stephanie, Korn, and myself will be discussing our marketing plan for Jardiance, a type 2 diabetes medication. First, we'll hear from Stephanie, who will be discussing our marketing problem.
Chances are you know someone with type 2 diabetes. It's a chronic metabolic condition characterized by elevated blood glucose related to an ineffective response to insulin or a lack of insulin production. Type 2 diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death in the US, and it can double your risk for heart attack or stroke. There are times when more than one drug are needed to help a patient manage symptoms of type 2 diabetes. One class of drugs are the sodium glucose cotransponder 2, or SGLT2 inhibitors. SGLT2 inhibitors are a novel class of oral type 2 diabetes medications that remove excess blood glucose more effectively than rival injectable medications. They also have weight loss benefits, making them a desirable option for a second oral therapy. Currently, there are 3 types of SGLT2 on the market, including Jardiance, Farxiga, and Invokana. Despite the benefits, SGLT2 drug class has been plagued with serious safety concerns, including limb amputations, bone fractures, kidney dysfunction, among others. Boehringer Ingelheim, the makers of Jardiance, is challenged with focusing their marketing efforts to establish Jardiance as a leader in the drug class despite safety concerns. Next.
I'll be discussing situation analysis and the industry factors. Jardiance is produced through a global diabetes alliance between Eli Lilly and Boehringer Ingelheim, who jointly develop and commercialize multiple diabetes medications. While they currently maintain a strong market share, projections suggest Jardiance may lose the advantage to Farxiga in the next 5 years. Major independent medical wholesalers distribute their products, primarily 3 large distributors, McKesson, AmerisourceBergen, and Cardinal Health. Consumers can be divided into segments: key opinion leaders in the field of diabetes treatment, primarily endocrinologists, prescribing primary care physicians, and patients. Advertising for doctors occurs in medical journals and online, while patient advertising occurs via informational websites. Pharmaceutical sales representatives also promote Jardiance through in-person visits to clinics or conferences and meetings. There are 3 influential factors in planning this marketing strategy. Strict federal and state regulations limit the scope our promotion and education strategy has. The average wholesale price must be competitive. And finally, the impact of intellectual property timelines and new developments in diabetes treatment must be taken into account. Next slide.
The results of the SWOT analysis are as follows. One of the strengths of Jardiance is improvement in cardiovascular health. Diabetic patients are already at increased cardiovascular risk due to the disease alone. In a study of type 2 diabetes patients, adding Jardiance and a placebo, the overall mortality decreased 5.7% versus 8.3%, and mortality due to cardiovascular disease decreased also 3.7% versus 5.9% with Jardiance. This benefit has not been reported yet for other drugs of its kind. One of the weaknesses is side effects. 5% of men and 10% of women reported a fungal infection when being treated on this type of medication. Opportunities. Jardiance is the only drug of its kind that the FDA currently indicates for cardiovascular health. In addition, it is an oral medication and especially appealing for patients who are hesitant to use injectables. Threats to the success of Jardiance include drugs such as Farxiga, Invokana, and Trulicity.
As of 2015, 7.4% of the US population were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and roughly 24% remain undiagnosed. Roughly 81 million individuals 18 and over are diagnosed with prediabetes. This means in 5 years, they're likely to develop type 2 diabetes if their lifestyle doesn't change. Based on the data from the CDC, and then extrapolated to the year 2024, we predict 11.5% of the US population are predicted to be diagnosed with diabetes. These numbers do not include individuals with prediabetes. In 2018, medical guidelines changed to recommend patients with type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease to include SGLT2 or GLP-1 class of drugs as part of the diabetes treatment. This creates an amazing opportunity for Jardiance to step in and become the preferred second agent for physicians to prescribe to their patients. Next.
To develop our marketing strategy, we interviewed 3 people with different perspectives. First, a pharmaceutical sales representative described the challenges of accessing doctors and the strict limitations on communicating benefits and side effects. She finds doctors respond best to free samples and educational materials for patients. A doctor said ADA guidelines and FDA indications guide his patient care strategies. He prescribes more injectable meds than oral meds like Jardiance because of better efficacy and safety profiles. However, Jardiance is preferred over its SGLT2 competition because of its favorable FDA indication for cardiovascular disease, but he would welcome more research to differentiate Jardiance. And finally, a diabetes patient said she trusts her doctor to select the best medication for her condition. This patient's information is supplemented by television programming, which could indicate a potential inroad to build brand recognition with the target patient demographic. Next slide, please.
We will focus our market segmentation on physician prescribers in states with a high incidence of diabetes. The figure on the right from the CDC shows the incidence of diabetes in 2016 by state. We will target valuable prescribers or key opinion leaders in these states who are leading nationally regarded endocrinologists. Primary care physicians will follow once Jardiance is identified as a preferred brand among leading endocrinologists.
Our marketing strategy is threefold. First, we'll plan to increase market share by 1% per quarter, aiming for a majority of the SGLT2 market by 2023. In addition, we'll enhance market penetration by targeting those key opinion leaders, especially at academic medical centers in states with the highest prevalence of type 2 diabetes. Next, we'll decrease customer attrition costs by enhancing provider comfort with utilizing Jardiance, resulting in increased medication possession ratios and creating more satisfied prescribers and patients. Our strategy is to disseminate medical guidelines, primary literature, and patient education materials to prescribers at their practices, maintain a presence at endocrinology conferences and educational sessions. We'll revamp our Jardiance website to focus advertising efforts towards patients and also educational efforts to prescribers. We'll increase patient awareness via advertising and also develop a competitive pricing strategy to ensure that Jardiance can succeed in the market over its competitors. Next slide.
For our marketing mix, we looked at product, price, promotion, and place. For the product itself, no name or package changes were recommended. This is because pharmacists fulfill individual orders for the product, and the product name was already changed to Jardiance for mobility. Additionally, since it is regulated, there are no warranty or return policies we can implement. Instead, our focus is on the product's added features, or in this specific case, reduction in cardiovascular death and hospitalization. The current average list price of Jardiance is $529. This is mid-price when compared to our closest competitors. To achieve the majority SGLT2 market share, we recommended a price reduction of $485.50. This will increase the adoption rate of insurers, capturing market share from our competitors. Our promotional activities will target medical professionals and patients to inform those segments how Jardiance reduces the risk of cardiovascular death and hospitalization. For medical professionals, we plan to provide product samples and informational booklets, sponsored medical exhibits at conferences, and advertisements in peer-reviewed medical journals. For patients, we will advertise on websites and using pamphlets in doctors' offices, run a television marketing campaign during popular daytime shows, create a moderated Facebook group for product users to connect with other users and ask questions, and create an onshore call center available to answer product-related questions. Other efforts include cause-related marketing activities and offering manufacturer rebates. We believe the rebate strategy will level set out-of-pocket expenses for consumers and increase adoption rates. We will look to sell our product remains unchanged due to regulatory restrictions. Consumers will still be able to purchase at their local pharmacy. Next slide.
In conclusion, Jardiance has an advantage over other SGLT2 inhibitors in its class. Our marketing focus is to approach key opinion leaders and inform them of the benefits of Jardiance, hoping that prescribing with primary care physicians will follow. In addition, enhancing provider comfort with Jardiance will also increase patient satisfaction with the medication. And lastly, adopting a competitive pricing strategy will enhance the market position of Jardiance over its competitors. Thanks for your attention.